Have you ever felt uncomfortable with somebody? Remember that feeling in your stomach that made you want to run? Well, what happens when you can't run? What happens when you have to face your monster every day? When somebody experiences workplace sexual harassment, this is how they feel. The background of gender equality and sexual harassment in the workplace can be dated back to when women started in the workforce in general. Men saw this as an opportunity to treat women how they thought they should be, while getting paid to do so. Our civil and human rights protect us from this, but it can only do so much. Sexual harassment has only proceeded to get worse within the workplace. Throughout this presentation, I will talk about the statistics of workplace harassment, the overview of the problem, and lastly, a solution. Workplace harassment can happen in many forms, including sexual advances such as contact, eye movement, and any unwanted body contact. It can be considered verbal or physical, yet most people pass verbal off as a joke. It can make the workplace a hostile and intimidating place where the worker will no longer want to be or feel safe. Diversity can be considered a variety of subjects, such as race, religion, sex, and age. However, I believe an ongoing issue is sexual harassment in the workplace. Even though 97% of organizations now report having sexual harassment policies, charges filed with the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission have increased by 127%. This commission is designed to give equal rights to all men and women in the working field. However, with incidents increasing at substantial rates, it almost seems like the commission is doing the exact opposite. Or is it the fact that within the last 2 decades, more women have entered the workforce? It is that indeed. In fact, 79% of the victims are women, 21% were men. 12% of victims had received threats of termination if they did not comply with the requests of the sexual harassers. The most shocking fact is that 66.6% of those polled were not aware of any policies. With stating this, it brings forth the idea that possibly everybody is not being taught what is and what is not appropriate in the workplace. Most were unaware of that the assaulter does not have to be the opposite sex. With most men being aware of sexual harassment in the workplace and knowing it goes unreported, does this not seem to be an issue? Why is it that these assaults are going unreported if people are aware of the problems? This leads us to the question, why is this still happening? The fact is that there are mostly unresolved underlying issues of sexual harassment that result in a recurring pattern from the predator. This means that the person assaulting does not understand why what they are doing is inappropriate and considered harassment. There is often a lack of education on the part of the person and the victim as to what to do when this happens, or what is considered inappropriate versus appropriate in the workplace. Most people find that sexual harassment can often be linked to jokes or racial slurs being uttered in the workplace, making this acceptable because it is a form of comedy. Most employees are aware that there is a policy set in place, but are unaware of what the guidelines of the policies actually are. This is the manager's job to make sure that everybody understands the policy in place. The biggest problem facing the workplace is the fact that victims believe they do not have any resources or power in the problem, making most assaults unreported. If they are unreported, there is no way the workplace can improve by example. The victim needs to be aware that there is no need to be embarrassed. Solutions can be presented in any format that works for the company, but should include these aspects. First of all, employees, upon hiring, should be educated and given the policies regarding sexual harassment. Following that, there should be a set of modules designed to perform simulations of sexual harassment for the employees to be tested on. This will ensure that the employee has a firm understanding of the requirements for avoiding sexual harassment. Communication must be present for operations to run smooth. To make sure that no corners are cut, employees should be asked to take an online test based on the modules and print the certificate in order to provide proof that the training is complete. This would act as a binding contract to avoid sexual harassment in the workplace. The last two solutions go hand in hand, and especially in order to ensure victims or possible victims are aware that there is help, people to talk to, and people to guide them through the process. This would also make bystanders more likely to come out and tell somebody about an incident they are aware of. The biggest step in avoiding sexual harassment in the workplace is to open communication about it, make it a safe environment to talk, and give employees and supervisors the education and training needed. Being uncomfortable and unsafe is the last thing somebody should feel while at work. So the next time, instead of having that feeling of angst in your stomach, go talk to somebody or stand up for the person you see being assaulted.